exploding heads, creepy crawlies.
We could have a little problem.
The creeps are taking over.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is another one coming straight out of early access from Duskmourn. This is a deck I call Power Creeper. And the idea is to show off just how bad Power Creep has been in Magic lately, using all of the craziest new 2-drop and 3-drop creatures that are absolutely insane if you get them in multiples. And how are we doing that exactly? We're doubling down by using clone effects like Mockingbird and the brand new Silent Hallcreeper to make double, triple copies of these insane new busted cards and just absolutely abusing them to their full potential, as well as having an auto win combo built into the deck where you lose half your life twice in multiple ways to line up and be consistent. It's just crazy. You gotta see it in action. Before we check out the deck, make sure you like the video if you haven't already. Every single like does help the video get out to so many more people, and it is a ton of work. I just got done with a 24-hour stream. I'm exhausted. If I'm slurring my speech, it's because I can't think straight right now, and I need to get this intro done so the deck can get up to you guys today. But please like it. Help me get it out to more people. Make all of the work I'm putting in worth it. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload, because there's tons of crazy deck techs on the way. Wait until you see what I have coming tomorrow. It's pretty bananas. But with that being said, make sure you catch me live Monday through Friday on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn. Because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. This video has been brought to you by Wonders of the First, but I'll tell you about that later. Let's break down the deck. Alright, so the idea behind this one is very, very simple. We're trying to use some very, very new busted cards that are 2-drops and 3-drops, and then make as many copies of them as we can so that eventually our opponent runs out of removal and we just beat him through sheer attrition. So first of all, we are running Unstoppable Slasher, 3 mana for a 2/3 zombie assassin with Death Touch. When it dies, if it has no counters on it, you return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with 2 stun counters on it, which is already pretty good because it means it eats through some of their removal and then comes back for more. But what makes this guy even crazier is that when Unstoppable Slasher deals combat damage to a player, they lose half their life rounded up. So all this guy needs to do is connect for the first time. You immediately do 2 damage, get them to 18, and then they lose 9 life, half of what's left, and go straight down to 9 if they haven't taken any damage yet, which is utterly insane. But when you combine this with some other abilities that allow you to double up that half life damage, you just kill them in one shot. The most notable thing is Bloodletter of Aclazotz, 4 mana for a 2/4 flying vampire demon. If an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. So if you have a Bloodletter out and you hit them with a Unstoppable Slasher, you have them lose half their life rounded up, and then they lose that same amount again because of Bloodletter, and they just die in one hit no matter how much life they have. In a similar fashion, we also have Grievous Wound, 5 mana for an enchantment aura, enchants a player. Enchanted player can't gain life, which is a nice little bit of upside, but then when enchanted player is dealt damage, they lose half their life rounded up. So once again, if they get hit by an Unstoppable Slasher, if you have a Grievous Wound out enchanting them, they just die in one hit, which is kind of gnarly. We've also got Mirror Room and Fractured Realm. Now, there are a few different cards in this deck that can make copies of creatures, because if we could just keep making copies of Unstoppable Slasher, eventually they can't stop us from getting there, right? The power creep is real. And what's cool about Unstoppable Slasher, when it dies, it comes back tapped with 2 stun counters on it. And even though that sucks for the initial copy of the Unstoppable Slasher, because it has to wait multiple turns before it can attack again, copies don't really care if it has stun counters on it. They just care about the creature being there to become a copy of. So even though it's tapped down for a few turns, it's still back on the battlefield, and we can easily make copies of it with our other cards, one of which being this Mirror Realm. So for 3 mana, it enters the battlefield, and when that door becomes unlocked, you create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it's a reflection in addition to its other creature types. So you make another unstoppable slasher, even if they killed the first one and it came back tapped down for a few turns, you make a new copy, it's untapped and ready to go. We've also got Fractured Realm, so if we do happen to get up to 7 mana, we can activate Fractured Realm, unlock it, and now if a triggered ability of a permanent you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. If we're able to do that before we pay for the Mirror Realm, it means Mirror Realm unlocking triggers twice and we get 2 copies of whatever we want. But even if we do just, you know, unlock that later after we've already done the Mirror Room copy, we can double up on the triggers from Unstoppable Slasher, so they lose half and then lose half again, which is another way to just do an insane amount of damage. But there's a ton of ways to just make copies of the Slasher or to double up on damage, and there's some other really good creatures in this build to make multiple copies of as well for if we don't have the Slasher. So let's start at the bottom of the curve. We've got 4 cut downs as removal, 1 mana. It lets us reserve the rest of our mana for putting as much board pressure on the board as possible. Same thing with Bottomless Pool and Locker Room. For 1 mana, Bottomless Pool comes onto the battlefield, unlocks, and returns up to 1 target creature to its owner's hand. Sometimes we might want to use this in a clever way to return one of our own creatures so that we can recast it and make it become a copy of something else, such as Mockingbird, which can come into play as a copy of whatever you want as long as you pay mana equal to the cost of the thing you want to copy. We can also copy our opponent's stuff if we really need to. But in addition, Bottomless Pool on the other side has Locker Room, so if we get to 5 mana, we can unlock it for that 5 mana, and then whenever one or more creatures we control deal combat damage to a player, we get to draw a card. Now why is that relevant? Because we have Silent Hallcreeper. Comes down for 2, it's unblockable, and when it connects, we get to choose one of 3 modes that hasn't been chosen yet. We either put 2 +1/+1 counters on the Silent Hallcreeper, or we draw a card, or we become a copy of another target creature we control. So, we can become a copy of the Unstoppable Slasher with the Hallcreeper. We can become a copy of it with the Mockingbird. And we can do even cooler things, like have the Hallcreeper become a copy of the Mockingbird that's already a copy of the Hallcreeper. And we can keep becoming copies of each other every time we connect, which is amazing. Because every time we become a copy all over again, we reset all of the triggers. So you're only allowed to choose to get 2 +1/+1 counters once, and then it goes away. You're only allowed to choose drawing a card once, and then it goes away. But once we become a copy of a fresh version of a Hallcreeper, all of that resets, and now we can trigger all of those things again. We can get 2 more counters on it, we can draw another card, and then when we connect the 3rd time, we can become a copy of another Hallcreeper all over again and reset everything. So if we can just get 2 Hallcreepers onto the battlefield, they can keep becoming copies of each other and resetting all of the triggers so that we can just keep doing it, which is kind of insane. And that's if we don't have the Unstoppable Slashers to copy to begin with, so that we just go wide on the board with a whole bunch of Unstoppable Slashers, which can be insane in its own right. But then we're also running 4 copies of Razorkin Needlehead, a new 2-drop 2/2 human assassin. It has first strike during your turn, but whenever an opponent draws a card, you deal 1 damage to them. It's kind of like a mini Sheoldred, but the one upside of the Needlehead over the Sheoldred, the downside is it only deals 1 damage instead of, you know, them losing 2 life when they draw a card, so it's kind of half the life loss. But the upside is it's not legendary. We can have as many of these in play as we want, and it's good enough to just get a second copy, to be lucky enough to get a second copy in your hand and just play it outright. But because we're running so many clones in this deck, being able to clone the Needlehead, make a second, third, sometimes fourth copy so that our opponent takes a ton of damage every single time they draw a card can also be really insane. In the 3-drop slot, alongside the 4 unstoppable slashers, we also have 4 Screaming Nemesis, because this is another really good creature to copy. If this thing is dealt damage, it deals an equal amount of damage to whatever target we want, and if it deals damage to an opponent, they can't gain life for the rest of the turn. So if we just have a bunch of Screaming Nemesises swinging in, sometimes even bigger 5/5s, if it's a Silent Hallcreeper that already got the 2 counters and then turned into a Nemesis, it's sort of hard for them to stop the damage coming in. The idea is everything that we're swinging with, either they can't block or they really don't want to block because they get punished in huge ways. The Slasher has Death Touch, kills whatever blocks it, and then just comes back with the stun counters on it. The Nemesis does a bunch of damage, shuts off life gain. The Needlehead has First Strike. The Hallcreeper's unblockable. It's really hard for them to deal with our constantly attacking board state and our constant pressure. So we just keep putting them into positions where we just have way too much value on the board, and we can absolutely win the game outright with something like an unstoppable slasher, taking out half their life, and then taking out half more with like a Bloodletter or a Grievous Wound, or any combination of all of these insane creatures, getting to just whittle down their life just straight away. So the deck's kind of crazy. The mana base is very specific because we do need to be able to hit 2 red on turn 2 while still being able to hit 3 black on turn 4 while also running 3 different colors. And that's not the easiest thing in the world, so the mana base is very specific, and I've noted that, so check that out in the description in the deck tech portion if you'd like to see exactly what the mana base is. But with all of that out of the way, let's check out the games. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Wonders of the First. Wonders of the First is a brand new collectible card game similar to games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, featuring a unique action-based resource economy that helps avoid pitfalls like Mana Flood or Mana Screw, and a battlefield containing multiple realms that unlock over time as you fight for control of the stones. The first 400 card set is called Existence and will launch to retail in the fall, but playtest team starter kits are available to order now. And they haven't forgotten about all you collectors out there. The game contains alternate borderless art variants, as well as highly sought after limited edition numbered prints, culminating in a 1-of-1 stone foil. And the best part is that the developers have a community first approach, with 8 print and play decks available on their website, as well as a version of the game available on Tabletop Simulator, all for free. For more information, be sure to check out wondersccg.com today. That's wondersccg.com. Alright, this actually looks pretty good. We're gonna keep it. This is essentially a swamp. We gotta keep that in mind. Can only make black until we get the right land type. We keep just running into this guy over and over and over, and it's kind of annoying. Maybe nobody's playing in the ranked queue? Is everybody playing in the play queue? Is that the problem? It might be. Archive. Sure, we'll play you, we'll play you. Roaring Furnace. Goodbye, Silent Hallcreeper. Hardly knew ya. Hardly knew ya. Let's play Unstoppable Slasher. Plays a tapped land, sure. Looks like Jeskai control. Jeskai house control. Sure. That's fine. ℏ𝐻𝐾𝐞tastic. Let's get you out there. Get rid of you. Play you. Are we ever going to be able to keep a creature on the field? We will find out. Oh, no, he's playing green. So it must just be a 5-color house deck. House MD. Right? Got you, got you. Oh. Wait, so I just win? Is that what you're telling me? I have Grievous Wound, so I just win? Oh, you got Elspeth's Smite! Bastard. You bastard. And we can't draw another creature for the life of us. We get all of our removal against the creatureless deck. Glorious. Absolutely glorious. Man, that's kind of busted, huh? It's pretty busto. Do we copy the Ghostly Dancers here? I kind of think we do. The problem is he's just going to use removal on our dude and then swing through, right? But I mean, we get our Silent Hallcreeper back, which is not nothing. Is he finally out of removal? Nah, he had to have had more than just the Elspeth's Smite and the Bottomless Pool, right? And the Roaring Furnace. I guess he used 3 pieces. That's why the rooms are so good, man. They give you what you want on curve to do the job they need to do, but then they just leave this extra value just waiting there to eventually play. No block. Elegant Parlor. He is running out of gas, which is nice. Brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. We can only play 2 blue spells. So we kind of need to keep that in mind. Trigger you first. Trigger, 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 trigger. Holy moly. Holy moly. I don't know what just happened, but it was awesome. What just happened? What? We have 9 3/1s? I don't even know what just happened. Ghostly Dancers is just disgusting. That's a thing. Bottomless Pool. I assume you bounce my copy. Right? Yeah. We're still going to do some pretty gross stuff, though. I'm pretty sure we just have lethal, right? We just have lethal. Yeah, we just have lethal. Get out of here. Dude, double triggers is just insane. Oh my god. Bro. Alright. Well, clearly there's a deck we need to build. Alright, we're gonna keep this. We'll go Theater on 1. Find a black source, that's important. We're gonna go Hallcreeper on 2. Mirror Room, copy the Hallcreeper on 3 unless they remove it. And it's gone. Gone, baby, gone. Alright, well, Screaming Nemesis it is then. And if we get lucky and top deck a black source, we can play Bloodletter. Otherwise, we're going to have to play Mirror Room. Make another Screaming Nemesis, which isn't the worst thing ever, but we're playing against blacks, so he's not going to have damage-based removal. Oof. Well, we'll play Bloodletter, I guess. And then Bloodletter. And then Mirror Room. Unless we top deck a 1-drop. If we top deck a 1-drop, we'll play Mirror Room this turn. Like if it's a cut down or something. So we can keep access to playing the cut down if we need to. Lumra Kona? Interesting. Gets back the Harvester. Well, we're going to play another Bloodletter. And hit for a lot of damage. And then we should just be able to win next turn, I think. Unless he can wipe both Bloodletters, which he got to 5. So it's possible he has a sweeper in there. Well, let's attack first. Force whatever removal he has out of his hand. He still dies, right? Alright, so that's 4. This guy... And then Mirror Room, we're actually going to copy the Needlehead here, because Bloodletter only works on our turn. And then we ping him out. Awesome. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to keep this. I'd much rather have less lands, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. We're going to start with Thundering Falls. We'll keep the Silent Hallcreeper. We're gonna play it next turn. Bobo, leave your paws alone. Stop being silly. The pupper is being silly. We're gonna discard a land. Sounds about right. Although I probably should have discarded the non-black land. Now that I think about it. The Spirebluff Canal. Because we have a Bloodletter coming. My gut was, oh, get rid of the second pain land, right? But I forgot this deck is very color intensive, so we actually have to think about it deeper than that. Alright, we'll play the Slasher. Because if the Slasher hits removal, it just comes back eventually. Which is nice. Piggy bank. Das Piggy Banks. Man, we just keep playing this same guy, huh? Gonna torch the tower. Gets to exile it because he sacrificed the Tiny Bones. That's a bummer. But it is what it is. We need to keep this for black, right? Let's trade. Let's trade and shut off your lifelink. Alright, play something so that we can bottomless pool it. Piggy bank, sure. Bottomless pool. Bloodletter. Does he have removal for the Bloodletter? That's the question. Boo. Boo. Turning on our locker room does nothing. Show me that red removal. There's a good lad. Take 3. Take 3! Braids, sack the treasure. It's not awful. We need to top deck something. That's something. It's not really the something we want. Well, I guess we do this. We don't have anything else to do. Unlock the locker room. Oh, no grumping. No being a grumpy boy. You lay down. Grumpy, not allowed. Ugh, this is awful, man. We just have everything in the wrong order. We have to bin it. Because we have 0 threats. Pass the turn. Dude's just drawing gas. He was down to nothing. And now he's just gassing up with the braids while we draw lands. Unfortunate. Restless Vent, sure. Discard the land you did draw to draw more gas. Seems pretty good. You don't have to sack the vents, right? Sack one of the other lands, bro. Sack the Sulphur Springs. That's the way to go. There you go. There you go. Turns out that was a mistake. But hey, we'll draw a card off the Nemesis. But we could have also played Mirror Room and got 2 of them. Drew 2 cards, which would have been nuts. So we shouldn't have sacked that land. We made a mistake, it's fine. Ow. Good game. Good game. Good God. Alright, no blue. That's unfortunate. I think we have to mulligan. Ugh. We'll keep it, but ugh. Start with a canal. Underwater tunnel. Alright, we'll start with the Hallcreeper. Get lost, my Hallcreeper. How dare you? How dare you? Let's try and lure out some removal here. Then we'll play the Slasher. Then we'll play the second Screaming Nemesis afterwards. Alright, we'll swing in for 3. Swingin', swingin', swingin'. More underwater tunnel. Dude, the keyholes look so cool. I like it. I do wish they had made key tokens, though. Missed opportunity. Dollmaker shop. Jeez. I think we keep this. And then we'll do that. And then we'll swing. Okay, goes to 8. Pretty much dead next turn, right? Bottomless pool and locker room. Unlock the locker room. Swing in. And yeah, just dead. Just dead, I guess. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.